Welcome back to part 2 of the first rendition of our podcast. And a question came up, and the question is this: what changes could the U.S. make to move towards living well? And honestly, we don't like the way social media is being used these days in America. And before I really get to, the concrete steps that we would propose to get rid of, this social media addiction, I'm going to let Ben take over and explain to you guys exactly why and the reasons we don't like social media. Ben?
Yeah, Noah. So, we talked about this before. Actually, if any of you guys listened to part 1 of this podcast, I really hope you did. If you didn't, you should go back and listen to it first. I don't want to spoil it for you, so little disclaimer real quick. But when I talk about radical change, what radical change is, I said the way we're living now is not how you're supposed to live, right? And for a lot of people, when they talk about change, they call it radical, but really how we're living now is radical, and we need to get back to how we're supposed to live. And one of the things we really touched upon was that you're supposed to live for things that you love, things that you like doing, for the people you care about, the things you have fun doing. And that's really not what we're doing now. And I feel, we were talking about it earlier, off script, was that social media has been a big driver in why we're not living that way. Too many people are really obsessed with what other people are doing on social media, how they're living, and how things look on social media, when in reality, that's not what's going on, Noah. You look at someone who's on vacation in the Caribbean somewhere. They post these pictures, they edit it so they look skinnier, so they look better, so the day looks sunnier, like they're having a good time. And someone looks at it on social media like, damn, that's not my life. And they get really upset about themselves, and they really compare their life to it. But in reality, that person, the thing they're posting on social media isn't them, and it's not their life. You don't know about the fight their family had, the crab they got bit on the beach, or anything that's really going on. And when you look at it, you start to compare yourself to everything, and it's just not the reality.
No,
it's just not the reality.
Absolutely not.
And one more thing before we move on, and really outline what we're really going to do. Noah, I'll let you talk about this part.
Yeah, so all I really wanted to butt in, I'm sorry for butting in there. I loved what you were saying, is you see everybody's best day on social media. Every time you go on, it doesn't matter what time of the day, what time of the year, when you go on social media, you see everybody's best moment. And everybody's best moment is captured in 4 or 5 pictures within 30 seconds. And that's not the reality.
30 seconds. There's 24 hours in a day. 24 hours in a day. And think about how many days people live. 30 seconds is nothing.
Yep.
And to compare yourself to 30 seconds
your whole life
is just not good, man.
Absolutely not.
And think about the effects that has on people's mental health. I have the stats up right here. 25% of teenagers view social media as having a negative effect. And that's teenagers who love social media. Their whole lives are on social media. And a quarter of them say that it's having a negative effect on their life. And one more I have up here. In between 2012 and 2015, Noah, depression in boys increased by 21% and girls increased by 50%. 50% of young girls, 21% of young boys in America are getting depression.
Yep.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that the
not.
rise in social media has taken part at exactly the same time.
No, agreed. And honestly, it's really, you could talk about it forever, but we might as well take out some concrete steps of what we truly believe has to be done. So just, I don't know. Here you go. Three really things that we want to eliminate is the illusion of perfection on social media, the illusion of comparison, the illusion of wanting to be somebody you're not. And we want to embrace authenticity, and we want people to find balance and perspective in their lives. And those are obviously our concrete steps, but you can just say those things. Those aren't real things you can put into place. So what we came to the conclusion to is we'd like to bring this issue to government officials and cite the need for this to end. Like you talked about, mental health, depression increasing, depression doubling. We want to start social media campaigns to promote wellness and give people the facts, and maybe even incorporate some celebrities or influencers that people looked up to when you see their best 30 seconds, and show them the behind the scenes of their posts, how things are edited, like you mentioned, people make themselves look skinnier and making the day brighter.
And the question is, would celebrities even do that, Noah? I mean, celebrities make all their money and their whole lives. We prop them up because of someone they're not, just to make ourselves feel bad. And I think if you have celebrities really come out and show people what they're doing, I think that would go a really long way. But it's really, would they do that?
I think it would take a special person to give up their money to do that.
Would Kim Kardashian show you how much editing goes into her pictures? I don't know, Noah.
I don't know. I agree with you there. And just building off that point, it'd be tough to completely eliminate social media because it's created so many positives for so many people.
Yeah.
But what we're really looking for is just awareness. We're really looking for a way for people to, detach themselves from the screen and really go back to living their lives.
And sorry, I feel like I keep contradicting you, but when I hear something, I just kind of have to come in and say it, I think it's really interesting. A lot of people that I talk to, friends, family, even teachers, when you bring up social media, they always say, but what about all the positive effects that it's had on people's lives, right? That's what they always say. But what's the positive effect? Yeah, we have news at our fingertips, but at what cost? I mean, these social media algorithms that people have their whole lives whole lives controlled by it.
Okay.
I was reading an article, I think it was it was from UChicago the other day. It said that these algorithms are specifically designed to promote misinformation and hatred, because that's what keeps people clicking. Yep. That's what keeps people back on social media, coming back, showing back up, scrolling at their phones, doing nothing. And that's the type of content that's being promoted. Misinformation and hateful posts. That's what gets people coming back. So that's what gets promoted to people. And I'd be depressed too if all I was seeing
for sure
was hateful posts. And then to add on to that, misinformation. So we have the news at our fingertips, right? But it's wrong.
Yep. And
our opinions and our emotions are controlled by misinformation that's purposely put out there to make us feel a certain way, and I don't see that as a positive effect.
No, absolutely not. And I may have misspoke there. When I said positives, I'm talking about jobs it's created, monetary effects for people, but like you said, what cost?
Yeah.
So
a monetary effect. Someone made $1 million making someone else feel bad because they don't look like them.
Yep.
And that's no way to live.
Absolutely, no way to live. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a good representation of what we want, and what we truly believe should happen in this country. And yeah, I feel like that's pretty much it. Obviously,
yeah. What did Zeb say in class? He was talking about a lot of things that the government does that no one really knows about.
Yeah.
Right. And I think social media has done a really, really, I hate to say good job of keeping people distracted.
Yep.
I think everyone knows who's playing the NBA Finals right now.
Yep.
Everyone knows what private jet Taylor Swift got on.
Yep.
But no one knows all the words and all the specifics in a bill that got passed by Congress.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So what are people focusing on, and what is social media making us focus on?
Yeah.
When in reality we don't really know. I saw, I forget the source. I'll have to look it up. 13% of Americans agree with what Congress is doing. Only 13. And I just think that's baffling, considering how people view the news they're getting and what's going on. Because the government really, as Seb was saying, I mean, I don't know what his source was, but he was saying that they do so much that we don't know about, and yet we just accept it because we just get happy on social media by what we're looking at. And that's just, if we really want to live well, like we said, we have to get off social media, and we have to go outside and do the things that we care about that make us happy.
It's almost like it's a diversion to some extent, right? Like 13% of people are happy about what Congress is doing, but what portion of that 87% has no idea what's going on and has no real sense of what's going on and what they're talking about. And it's obviously because of social media and because of a lot of other factors, but social media plays, it plays a big factor in everybody's lives, whether you want to admit it or not. One way or another, you are on one type of social media.
Yeah. And you, and sorry, I just thought of something when you said it, that, like I was saying before, the bad stuff gets highlighted on social media. So everyone knows about the bad things, but no one knows about the good things. So you're only hearing all the bad things, and you can't get happy about the good things. So how's that going to make you feel in life? Not happy. And the second thing is, cool, we heard that something bad happened on social media. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do to make it better?
You don't do
We're
anything.
going to like and retweet it.
You
We're
keep
going to
scrolling.
Exactly. You just keep scrolling. You like and retweet it, and then it goes away. You feel like you did your part.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think we need to take a lot of take a hard look in the mirror and see what other countries are doing who really aren't on their phones as much. They don't focus on stuff like that. They focus on what really matters, and you talk about a lot of the problems that go on not only in this country but around the world. But other countries don't have these problems because they focus on what really what means to them. What's going on with them. That's what they focus on.
And even if those countries aren't as advanced, we might have to go to some more of a basic lifestyle, right? You see people just walking around on their phones, like not really paying attention to what's going on around them. Like that's just awful, an awful way to live your life, but it's a sad reality of how everybody's been made a mistake or not listened to someone because they were on their phone. Like that's plain and simple. That's just how it is, and it's unfortunate.
And how many times have you saw something on social media like, damn, I gotta be better than that.
Yep.
And do something to work better, to be better than someone else. But how's that help yourself?
It's just not living well.
How's that help yourself?
No, absolutely not.
You know, and that's just something I really think about a lot. And that's all I really got.
And before we wrap this up, we want to just address the question, what could be done to avoid some of the pitfalls of historical change that we've studied in class. And, obviously it's very easy to tell through our tone and what we're saying that we really, really don't like, what's going on in terms of the social media, on the social media spectrum in America. Like, we don't like it. Obviously, we know there needs to be radical change here. But we feel like it's very important to try to keep spreading awareness in a civil and positive manner. It might be easier. It might be easier to be negative, and a lot of people think negative. It's very, 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 very important. Very important to remain positive. Being negative and even protesting social media, and instead of creating awareness, could create a situation like we had in Venezuela with Hugo Chavez when he tried to get rid of all the hardworking oil personnel. If you restrict the way people live their lives or what people do on a day-to-day basis, it could end up becoming the wild, wild west again.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because everyone when you talk about something like this, the first thing they want to do is
Get rid of it.
Is either get rid of it or have the government fix it.
Yep.
Right? But I think what we've seen in Venezuela and Bolivia is the government's probably not going to fix it for you.
Nope.
And I think when people take to the streets and protest what's going on, that's a great thing. I like that.
Agreed.
But also think about if people in power don't like what you're saying, they're going to do everything they can to put you down and divide the people. And we have to know that's going to happen because that's exactly what happened in Bolivia and Venezuela.
Things like coups are gonna happen, and we don't need that here. Although it could be from something as stupid as social media, uprisings and protests can happen, and that's not the direction we want to go in. We don't want to end up, working backwards as we saw in Venezuela.
Yeah, I think we all really have to remember that we're all on the same side.
Yep.
Everyone wants a successful country, a successful population, and if we really remember that. And don't let small disagreements spiral into bigger uprisings against each other, because we're not protesting against other people, we're protesting against the people in power.
Right.
And when we focus more on, hey, well, that guy doesn't really agree with me 100%, so I'm not going to get along with him, or I'm not going to join hands with him, that's when the corrupt people in power stay in power and win. And that's something that we can really look back at these other points in history where they kind of went wrong, I would say, and how we can be better in that regard. That's really what I think. And I think we all have to remember that together we can do a lot, separately we can't do that much. And we really need to look each other in the eye and look ourselves in the mirror and say that we're the same person, we have the same goal, and that's where we need to go with it. And that's really what my biggest takeaway from everything we've talked about today.
And one thing quickly to wrap it up, a quote that I was, pondering as Ben was talking. He said, as a unit, you can do a lot. As an individual, you can't do as much. And the old saying goes, many hands make life work. Well, I think we should change it to many hands makes living well easier.
Wow. Yeah, that's great, dude. That's great. And I think that's a perfect way to wrap up everything we've been talking about. And that's one thing to really just think about when you're done listening to this podcast here. And just take that quote every day in your lives. Put it up next to your bed. Make it your wallpaper, and really think about that, and think about how many people you can really help and make their life better. Because that's really what life's all about, man. Everyone being happy together, and
living well.
Yeah.
Simply put.
And that's really how I want to wrap this up. And thank everyone for listening and tuning in, because without you guys, our listeners, none of this is possible.
Nope,
right? None of it's possible. So, I really had a fun time here, Noah. I hope you did as well. And I think we're gonna end it there.
Yep. Just thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening.